Extremely great display of workers' unity from across different trade unions and sectors of the workers' movement, because we can all relate to this attack on workers, their wages, their conditions, their rights. After all, this is part of a race to the bottom on the wages league by employers throughout. P&O are a particular example of gangster capitalists, of thuggery, but they're not alone. We see the way in which women are here and men representing the workers in Glasgow City Council fighting for equal pay that they've been robbed of for about 15 plus years at the rate of at least £3 an hour. They're on the brink of potentially going on strike unless the Scottish Government cough up the money in order to settle equal pay as they rightly should. And therefore people can relate to the fight against pay cuts. People can relate to that across the board. And let me be simple on another point. This is not the first time in this industry there's been an attempt to race to the bottom and bring in slave labour. Some people act as if it's a surprise. It shouldn't be, because as far back as at least 2014, with the RMT taking action on the south coast of England because Condor Ferries were hiring people at the rate of £2.40 an hour. Another example of slave labour. And then we have the bosses of P&O protest against being condemned for hiring people for £1.80 an hour, saying, oh well, the average is £5.50 an hour. Big deal. It's still a vicious attack on the wages negotiated by the unions. And we have a situation where they even had the cheek to say that they consciously and deliberately decided to break the law in sacking these 800 workers. Why? According to Peter Heselwaite, he says it's because no union would accept these proposals. Well, we've got a message here today to Heselwaite and the rest of them, and that is, no union will accept this thuggery, and if he breaks the law on that, we're prepared to break the anti-union laws to reinstate these workers. And I think unions like Unite and others should examine the possibility of carrying out the actions in the same fashion as the Dutch dockers, who have refused to handle P&O ships. And to mix the metaphor, let's drink a cup of Dutch courage and order the dockers in this country to not handle P&O and back them up when they refuse to handle P&O, and to break the so-called laws against so-called secondary industrial action, because we've got secondary scabbing by the P&O and by the Tory government. And finally, a message to the Tory government. Your crocodile tears do not wash. You've dragged P&O into being senior partners in the Freeport scheme. They've been chased by our actions out of the Solent Freeport in the last week or so. But they're still the main players in the Thames Gateway Freeport. They should be chased out instead of being subsidised to the tune of £70 million of state money, of public funds, of taxpayers' money. They should be chased out as part of a process of seizing the ships to bring them into public ownership and to restore the conditions of the workforce. Nationalise and reinstate the conditions. Seize the ships, and a message to the Tories: you're next. We're coming for you, because we're not going to allow you to get away with your crocodile tears. Stand firm and fight on.